Hi guys, welcome to my channel today. This is your Max Code Leather coming to you. Today we are going to be making a graphite leather fanny pack / bum bag. As you can see in this video, this is what the finished product looks like. The pieces I already have cut out are right there. And one thing that I did not show you, which is what I'm sewing right now, is the strap that is going to go on for this bag. So while I'm stitching it, I'm going to tell you what I did. I cut out a 3" by 36" piece of leather, and then ultimately I call it a middle fold, but I double-sided taped down both 36" sides of the strap and then folded them over and met them in the middle on the back side, and now I'm stitching close to the edge, like 1/4 inch away from the edge, down both sides all the way around the strap. And you guys are going to see here in just a few seconds what that looks like whenever I am done. You're going to see how close to the edge that I get that. I really find that I like this method, especially when the leather isn't too thick. This is probably a 2.5 ounce, 2.5 to 3 ounce max upholstery leather that works really good. So here you can see where the backside had that fold in the center, but how clean and sharp this strap looks. So now we're going to get into the body of the fanny pack. So I use the same type of template every single time. Don't mind the writings on the back of this leather, so I will end up wiping it off. It will come off really easily. But right now I'm putting double-sided tape down for the length of the zipper that I'm going to need to input for the mouth of the bag. So I use a Vislon zipper. I really like these. They're durable enough for what I do, but they have a really good glide to them. So I've just cut the length that I need, and I'm going to burn both ends of the zipper so that way none of my none of my zipper will fray. And now I'm going to attach the zipper head, which is a number 5 zipper head that I'm putting on here, showing you guys you get them nice and even. And once you get those lined up, the zipper head will glide right on there, as you can tell. And so now that I have that done, I'm going to pull the backside of my double-sided tape off there, and I am going to stick my zipper in there so that way we know that it's going to be nice and stuck in place whenever we take it over to the machine and get it stitched up. So now that I have that laid on there, you guys can see it's nice, even. We're going to go over to the sewing machine here in just a few minutes and get that stitched down. But first, we're going to take the flap and we are going to put a 2.5 inch, roughly 2 to 3 inch piece of double-sided tape on the right side corner there. And you're going to see whenever I take it over to the machine that I kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So getting this zipper stitched in there, I start stitching the zipper down over across the teeth so that way I know that, you know, my zipper head is not going to be going anywhere once this bag zips closed. And then, of course, down the body is where I'm going with the zipper now, and we're going to wrap up on the other side. So while this is finishing up showing you that 2 to 3 inch piece of double-sided tape that I put on the corner of the flap is going to come in right now, because what I have made so many of these that I don't need to tape the entire flap down, but you guys might, and I can do a deeper or more in-depth video at a later time to show you guys. But I'm going to pull that little piece off and then get the body turned around here so that I can stick just a portion, which is clearly that 2 or 3 small inch portion of the flap down where I want to start sewing the flap to the top half of that zipper. And again, I have made so many of these that I know exactly kind of where to place it and where to do it every time, so I'm not having to measure. So then I'm just going to kind of wrap that flap, because it is going to be curved. I'm going to kind of wrap that flap around the zipper as I'm stitching, getting everything lined up, so that way whenever we're done, it's ultimately going to already have kind of the shape of the bag. Of course, we have a few more things to do before we get to where the shape really comes together, but I'm going to get that flap stitched down, as you can see, and then you guys are going to see this bag really start taking shape. So now that I've got that done, our two little cutouts here in the corner are for where our pleats are going to go. So on both of those, there are two on the front of mine. I'm going to match those corners up. I'm going to come in here, put it in the machine, get those darts stitched in. I said pleats, I meant darts, but we're going to get those darts stitched in so that way it's going to give us that rounded pouch, you know, feel and look that we want for this bum bag. So I've got one done. I'm going to go in here and do the second one. So that way you guys can see, you know, exactly how this is going to look, and it's going to give us that nice rounded pooch there that we want. Yeah, so keep watching. You guys are going to see here in just a second once I get it flipped around. Here you go. So the back is not attached. This is just two pieces so far. It's that front. You can see right there, that dart gave us that nice rounded shape. The back's not even attached. And look, you can already tell how awesome the bag is gonna look whenever it's done. So now that we have that done, we're going to go ahead and take the back side. This is the back of the bum bag, and I double side tape everything whenever I'm working with leather. It keeps everything in place. It makes everything stay in the position that I want it to stay in. Plus, with the nap on the back side of the leather, generally oil tans are the only ones that I have trouble, obviously, because they're an oil-based leather, with using double-sided tape. But for the most part, double-sided tape is your absolute best friend. So now that I have the very top and then I have the rounded base here with double-sided tape, we're going to go ahead and get this front part and flap of the bag attached to that. So what I just did right there is I kind of measure because some leathers have more stretch than others, I measure how much room I'm going to have on each side, because this leather does have a little bit of stretch, which is just fine, but they're not necessarily going to meet completely end to end on the back. So I just got the flap put down. Once you have the flap put down, and you're pulling off the tape here on the bottom to secure the bottom, like the bottom of the bag to the back, those pieces are going to line up perfectly for me, which of course is what I want. So I always start on one side or the other, and then I meet in the middle, because sometimes, again, depending on the stretch, the darts could have a little bit extra material, one side versus the other. Plus, I want the curves of my sides to match up perfectly. So because sometimes leather can have a little bit of stretch, if I were to start in the middle and work my way to the outside, taping the body to the back, you could get a little bit of wonkiness. But now you can see we don't have any of the wonkiness. We're jumping over to the sewing machine, and we're going to start with the flap that we are going to stitch down on the wings down the back of the flap. So now that we get that going, I always stitch a little more than a 1/4 inch over, probably maybe a little closer to 3/8 of an inch if I'm remembering my measurements completely accurate right now, my numbers. But not quite a 1/2 inch, so you can kind of see there. Because I'm going to come in and trim that off, which I'm going to show you guys. And then, of course, we're going to flip around and we're going to stitch the bottom of the bag. Now, I always do the same thing. I do a pretty decent width stitch, like 3/8 of an inch. And then whenever I go over the darts, I always backtrack and then go back over them, just because, you know, for me, that's the weakest point of the bag, just because it's already been cut and stitched. So we're just reinforcing those darts so that there are no issues in the future for any potential weak spots. So as we get that down and around, then you guys are really going to see, you know, just how awesome this bag is, and really how quickly you could get one of these assembled, especially if this is something kind of like myself. I do this style all the time. And we're going to get it kind of fluffed up here and poofed out so that way you guys can see just how awesome it is. All right, look at this. This is really great. So this here is, whenever I said, you know, I stitch somewhere around 3/8 of an inch, you know, for my stitch width, so to speak, from the edge. I am cutting off the excess that I don't need. So you guys can see now the stitch is nice and close. That also evens up any potential you know, I mean, I feel like I cut pretty good, but anyone who's new or you just kind of get a little bit wonky for some reason, maybe the leather shifts when you're stitching it together, me cutting off the excess like this, it just gives you nice, clean edges all the way around whenever you come in, trim them up, clean them up, and get everything really, really nice. So now you can see the stitch is nice and close to the edge. The stitch is really nice and straight. The edges of the leather are really nice and straight. And so now I'm cleaning up the sides because, again, I kind of measured how close, you know, that flap and the back side were going to be, and there was just a little bit extra. Now we're going to move on to what is going to attach our D-rings to the bag. So this is a 2.5 inch by 3 inch piece of leather. I have folded it so that the 3 inches is what gets folded, and it's 2.5 inches wide. I'm putting double-sided tape on the back sides after I have notched out, you know, roughly 1/2 inch on each side once it's folded in half, and you'll have to back up this video a little bit to see how I folded it in half, but that's because it's going to fit our 1.5 inch solid D-rings that we're going to be putting here. So once I double side tape, I get these, the D-ring put in there, I flip it over so that you guys can see here how I'm going to attach this. So what I don't show you guys, and I will do this in a different video, is once I get these sides taped down, I'm going to walk over to my other table. I'm going to punch 5 holes in each one, and I'm going to set 5 rivets. So this keeps the D-rings in place. It's extremely strong, really durable, but now you guys can see kind of how that attaches there, all right? And once I come back, now you can see I've set my rivets in place. So 5 of those rivets right there. I normally use double-sided, but I'm trying to use up some things that I don't normally use. So I have these other single, you know, just tubular rivets that I used. Here is the strap that you guys saw me initially make. I went ahead and did the adjustable slider on there and put the trigger, the swivel clips on the end. And now the bag is finished. Now, I have a few extra steps that I do, something that I personally like. I do a zipper pull on all of mine, and then that right there is what I call like a zipper lock keychain, because if you're wearing this bag and you flip it around to your backside and you have that connected, no one can come up behind you and unzip your bag. So this is the bag that we made today, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. You guys know you can leave me any comments, ask me any questions that you have, and I'll try to help you the best I can. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. See you later.